stop what you're doing right now. Because what I'm about to show you completely contradicts everything you've been told about intelligence and money. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Studies show that high IQ individuals are statistically more likely to fall into certain financial traps than the average person. Not less. More. That sounds insane, right? But once you understand the dark psychology behind it, it makes complete sense. If you've ever wondered why brilliant people destroy their own wealth, stay with me. Because what I'm going to reveal in the next few minutes could be the most important thing you hear all year. Let's explore this right now. There's a concept psychologists call cognitive overconfidence, and it's the first hidden trap that catches intelligent people the hardest. Here's what it actually means. The smarter you are, the more you trust your own thinking. Sounds reasonable, doesn't it? But that's exactly where the danger begins. Think of your brain like a high-performance sports car. A Ferrari can hit 200 miles per hour. But if the road is icy, that speed doesn't protect you. It destroys you faster. Intelligence works the same way. It amplifies whatever direction you're already moving in, good or bad. And because of that, the next piece of this puzzle becomes incredibly important. A landmark study published in the Journal of Finance by behavioral economists Brad Barber and Terence O'Dean followed the trading activity of over 35,000 household investors across a 6-year period. Their finding was counterintuitive and uncomfortable. The investors who traded the most, who were the most active, the most engaged, the most convinced they had an analytical edge, consistently earned returns significantly lower than those who simply held their positions and did almost nothing. The pattern held regardless of education level. In fact, when controlling for income and professional background, the more financially literate the investor, the more likely they were to overtrade, and the more costly that overtrading became. The researchers concluded that the primary driver wasn't bad luck or poor information. It was overconfidence in the ability to interpret information better than the market already had. In financial terms, that translates directly into catastrophic decisions. A highly intelligent person looks at a complicated investment scheme and thinks, I can analyze this. I can find the angle others missed. Quote, an average person looks at the same scheme and feels confused, so they walk away. The confusion actually protected them. This is crazy. The very mechanism designed to protect you, your analytical brain, becomes the weapon used against you. And this is where psychological manipulation tactics come in at their most dangerous level. Con artists, predatory financial advisors, and market manipulators don't target confused people. They specifically target sharp ones. Why is that? Because intelligent people are more likely to engage, more likely to debate, more likely to convince themselves they've seen through the trick, when in reality, the trick was designed to make them feel exactly that way. It's called the illusion of control, and it's one of the most powerful psychological manipulation tactics ever documented. The manipulator gives the intelligent person just enough information to feel like they're running the analysis. They let them ask smart questions. They let them poke holes in the surface-level pitch. And then, at exactly the right moment, they reveal the real opportunity, the one hidden underneath. The intelligent person feels like they earned this insight, like they figured it out themselves. That emotional reward of feeling clever is the hook. And that's actually what makes the next part so deeply unsettling. There's a second trap, and it runs even deeper. Psychologists call it analysis paralysis meets action bias. Sounds contradictory, right? Let me break it down. Intelligent people overthink decisions. That's the analysis paralysis part. They research endlessly, model every scenario, run every calculation. But then, after all that analysis, they feel a massive pressure to finally ACT. Because smart people don't like feeling stuck. It bruises the ego. So after weeks or months of deliberating, they make a rushed, emotionally driven move, and they justify it with all the research they've already done. Imagine a chess grandmaster who has analyzed every possible opening for 3 hours. At some point, the clock is running, the pressure mounts, and even a genius will make a suboptimal move just to break the tension. Financial predators understand this psychology extremely well. They use a tactic called artificial scarcity. The pitch always includes a deadline. This window closes Friday. Only 3 spots left. I'm only sharing this with a select group. Quote, they know the intelligent person has already done their homework, so they don't need to sell the idea anymore. They just need to trigger the action reflex. And it works incredibly well. Did you know that some of the largest Ponzi schemes in history, including Bernie Madoff's $65 billion fraud, disproportionately targeted, highly educated, financially sophisticated investors? These weren't naive people. Many of them were seasoned professionals who managed other people's money for a living. The manipulation worked because it was engineered specifically around how intelligent brains process trust and exclusivity. Now, pause for a second and sit with that. You've seen how intelligence makes you a more attractive target. You've seen how the pressure to act after overthinking becomes its own trap. But here's the question that should genuinely unsettle you. What happens after the manipulation works? What happens inside the mind of a brilliant person once they realize they've been caught? And what do they do next? Because the third trap isn't about how intelligent people get pulled in. It's about why they can never seem to get out. It's called identity-based financial decision-making. Here's what this means. When you're highly intelligent, your identity becomes wrapped up in being the person who makes good decisions. It's not just about money anymore, it's about WHOUARE. So when an investment goes wrong, when the intelligent person finally realizes they've been manipulated, something extremely dark happens inside their psychology. They don't tell anyone. They double down. Because admitting the mistake means dismantling part of their identity. It means accepting that their intelligence didn't protect them. And that is psychologically unbearable for someone who has built their self-worth around being smart. This is why intelligent people destroy wealth in silence. The losses compound quietly. The cover-up becomes more costly than the original mistake. And the shame creates a wall that blocks them from getting the help that could actually stop the bleeding. Psychologists call this sunk cost amplification combined with ego protection. Think of it like a chess player who makes a bad move and then makes 5 more bad moves trying to save the first one, when the cleanest solution was to accept the loss 2 moves ago. The further in you are, the harder it becomes to admit you're in. The clearest real-world example of this is long-term capital management, a hedge fund in the 1990s run by 2 Nobel Prize-winning economists, John Merton and Myron Scholes, alongside former Federal Reserve Vice Chairman David Mullins. These were not amateurs. These were the people who literally wrote the textbooks other investors studied. At its peak, LTCM managed over $126 billion in assets. Their models were mathematically elegant, their track record was impeccable, and their collective identity was built entirely around the belief that their intelligence had found a systematic edge the rest of the market simply couldn't see. Now here's the question I want you to hold in your mind as you hear what happened next, because I think you already know the answer. When their models catastrophically broke down during the 1998 Russian financial crisis, do you think they exited? Or do you think they doubled down? They doubled down. They raised more capital. They added more leverage to positions that were actively destroying them, because unwinding those positions would have meant publicly admitting their models were wrong, that their intelligence had failed them. LTCM lost $6 billion in weeks. The Federal Reserve had to organize an emergency bailout to prevent global financial contagion. 2 Nobel laureates, decades of combined experience. And the trap wasn't complexity or bad luck. It was the psychological impossibility of being that smart and accepting that you were wrong. A version of this same dynamic plays out every single day in quieter ways in the financial lives of intelligent people who will never make the news. And because of that, the manipulation cycle feeds itself in a terrifyingly efficient loop. So here's where this gets genuinely interesting, and I mean that as a warning, not a comfort. Because everything we've covered so far points to one deeply uncomfortable conclusion. The standard advice for protecting your wealth is aimed at the wrong problem. Most financial guidance tells you to learn more, research more, analyze more. But for intelligent people, that advice doesn't reduce the risk, it feeds it. The protection doesn't come from more intelligence. It comes from one specific habit that essentially tricks your own brain into working against the trap instead of into it. And once you hear what it is, you'll immediately understand why almost nobody does it. Because it's genuinely, viscerally uncomfortable for smart people to actually execute. The intelligent people who do protect their wealth have figured something out that their equally intelligent peers haven't. They've learned to distrust their own confidence at specific, identifiable moments. There's a rule used in behavioral finance called the Pre-Mortem Technique, developed by psychologist Gary Klein. Before making a major financial decision, you mentally fast forward to the future and assume it already went catastrophically wrong. Then you work backwards. What could have caused this failure? This is incredibly counterintuitive for smart people, because intelligent people naturally run success scenarios in their heads. They think forward from why something will work. The pre-mortem forces you to run the nightmare scenario first. And what research shows consistently is that this single habit dramatically reduces overconfidence-driven financial losses. Not because it makes you smarter, but because it deliberately interrupts the psychological manipulation tactics you might be running on yourself. The second protection is almost embarrassingly simple. It's radical transparency with one trusted, equally intelligent, but differently wired person. Not to get permission, not to outsource the decision, but to hear yourself say it out loud to someone who won't just agree with you. Because here's the reality: manipulation thrives in isolation. Every major psychological manipulation tactic, whether it's gaslighting your financial judgment, love bombing you with exclusive opportunity language, or running triangulation by introducing a fake competing buyer, all of it collapses faster when a second clear mind enters the room. The manipulator doesn't fear your intelligence, they fear your community. This is why the most dangerous financial decisions in history were made by individuals operating alone, convinced their intelligence made them self-sufficient. And that connects back to something I mentioned at the very beginning of this video. The Ferrari on the icy road. Speed isn't the problem. Intelligence isn't the problem. The problem is the absence of friction. The right kind of friction, a second opinion, a forced worst-case scenario, a 48-hour waiting rule before any major financial commitment, doesn't slow intelligent people down. It saves them from themselves. Seriously speaking, the dark psychology at work here isn't just coming from external manipulators. A significant portion of it is the weaponization of your own greatest strength, your mind, turned against your financial well-being. And the scary truth is that no amount of additional intelligence fixes this. The fix comes from understanding the psychological forces shaping your decisions before they shape them. That is exactly what separates the intelligent people who build lasting wealth from the ones who brilliantly, systematically, and quietly destroy it. So let's bring this home. The core of what we covered today comes down to three uncomfortable truths. Your intelligence makes you a more attractive target for financial manipulation, not a safer one. The smarter you feel about a decision, the more important it is to run the nightmare scenario first. And the most powerful protection you have isn't more analysis, it's radical transparency with someone who will genuinely challenge you. Here's the question I want to leave you with, and I genuinely love to read your answer in the comments. What's the sneakiest way you've seen intelligence actually work against someone when it comes to money or major decisions? If this video made you see something differently, hit the like button and subscribe, and make sure you ring the bell so you never miss what we uncover next. Remember, seeing the invisible forces that shape you is the first step to actually controlling them. I'll see you in the next one.